How's it going, guys? Cody, guys, back again, dropping yet another video. Right, guys, you can see from the title, this vlog is on readying yourself for prison. It's aimed at those that might find themselves looking down the barrel of a custodial sentence for the first time, right? Obviously, having been in prison myself and stuff, guys, as you know, the first time I went to prison, I was arrested on a witness intimidation on a Saturday afternoon. Within the space of 12 hours, I was questioned and charged with no corroborating evidence. They charged me at 3 o'clock on a Sunday morning, which there's no court on a Sunday. So then what happened was on the Monday morning, a prison van came, sweatbox we call it, prison van came. I was placed into the back of it and I was going up on a bail application to Trafford Magistrates Court. I was put in the cells below the court. My brief came to see me and he sat down. He said, right, we've spoken to the Crown Prosecution Service. Even if you get bail today, they're gonna appeal. For those that don't know, when the CPS appeal a bail application, you get what they call a 48-hour recall, where you go to prison for 2 days before you're up on another bail app. So I knew at that moment in time, I was going to prison, right? Now, I still had to go before the judge, right? So eventually I ended up going upstairs, sat there, stood up. Judge was like, right, the bail application was made. The judge gave me bail, but then the CPS piece of paper appeal. At that point, I was remanded into custody. I was taken downstairs, had a sandwich, had a drink, transport turned up. I was put on a sweat box and I was taken to Strangeways, right? While I was sat in that prison van, right, and that door closed behind me and I'm sat there in a very small confined space looking through these blacked out windows, my whole world had come crashing down, guys, right? I'm not going to tell you that it didn't bother me and it didn't cause me anxiety and stuff because I'd be lying. And we can all do the macho thing, guys, and everything. I was a hardened criminal. I was 30 years old. It had taken the police years to get me off the street. They got me on this witness intimidation with no corroborating evidence, and that's all they needed to get me into prison, right? So on the prison ride and stuff, my world had come crashing down. My freedom had just been taken away. I was very nervous. I was very anxious. I'd been involved with obviously violent crime. I'd been on the doors. I'd fought with people. I'd been involved with gangs and all this stuff. I didn't know how it works in the prison. I didn't know even if I got a television in my cell, right? It was a very nerve-wracking time. Now, like I say, some trolls will pop up and give me shit and say, oh, you muppet, blah, 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 you shitbag. I can do prison standing on my head, but was I anxious and nervous about what was to come, about this world that I knew nothing about? Absolutely. Anyway, guys, I'm on the prison van. There's about 8 other lads on the prison van. They're all singing and stuff. We're going home, shouting to Miss, can we go through Mackie's drive-through and all this, right? And my world's everything was like slow motion, guys, yeah. So I get to prison, I get processed, I get up on the wing, yeah. And then obviously you've got prisoners' rules, you've got the wing rules, the prison rules, and then you've got prisoners' rules and stuff. And it's a very crazy world. It's me giving you the words can't prepare you, right? Watching prison documentaries doesn't prepare you, right? It's like a roller coaster of emotions that you'll never ever experience in your life. The ups, the downs, the anxiety, the paranoia, you'll have some great laughs as well. You meet some of the craziest people you ever met in your life and you'll have some good times. But I'm not going to glamorize prison to anybody. Some people see prison as a badge of honor. It's a mug's game, prison, right? Like I said, I've been there 3 times. Only on my last stretch did I see the effect my criminality was having on my mum. And that's all it took for me to open my eyes, sever all my connections and start afresh. So obviously, say you've been charged with an offence and stuff, right? And you know that your brief and your barrister are telling you, look, you're looking at a custodial for this. You're looking at 3 years. You're looking at 5 years. You're looking at 6 years, 10 years, whatever the thing may be. Now, your anxiety is going to be all over. There's not enough stuff out there from prisoners helping people that might find themselves in the shoes, right? So this is why I'm doing what I do. I like to give back. I like to try and help educate people, help people and advise people. I'm not legally trained, guys. I'm not an expert in nothing. I'm an expert in my own life. Right, so you're going to be stressed out. You're not going to be sleeping. As the court date approaches, you're like, do I throw my hand in? Meaning, do you plead guilty? Do I not? Do I run trial? If I plead guilty, will that help me? And stuff like that, guys. Because obviously, if you plead guilty at the earliest opportunity, right, your plea of direction or your plea of direction, you can get what they call a third off. That means you get a third off your sentence because you're saving the court money and the court and the judge time, because you're dragging out a trial, which could be 10 days, could be 14 days, could be months. Some cases last longer than the other, depending on the seriousness of the crime and the case and stuff, right? Some cases drag the reels and stuff and can actually take years to get to court and stuff. Like I say, during this time and stuff, your barrister's telling you the worst case scenario for you. This is the worst case scenario, right? And you're panicking and you're anxious and you're nervous. What do you pack? How does prison work? With money, do I get a television? Will I get my own cell? Am I sharing a cell with 5 people, 6 people, 3 people, 2 people? Am I allowed to wear my own clothes, or do I have to wear prison clothes? How does the wing work? How do visits work? I'm going to miss my missus. I'm going to miss my kids. I'm going to miss my birthdays. I've got a flat. I live on my own. I've got a property. I might lose my property. And all these things are going round in your head, guys, right? And again, this is aimed at people that might find themselves staring down the barrel of a custodial sentence, right? So like I say, prisons are not good places, guys, right? There's a lot that goes on. Like I say, you will meet some great people, but I'm not going to glamorize it to anybody. When that door locks, right, that first night and you were sent down and that door locks, right, all you've got is you might have a television, you might not, depending on if there's enough available on the wing, right? But you can be put behind your door, that door slams, you might be padded up with someone that you don't know, you might not necessarily get on with him. It's your first time in prison, your world's come crashing down. People contemplate suicide very, very early on. Some people do, some people don't. Some people worry, some people stress, some people are pacing up and down and stuff. And like I say, it's the fear of the unknown. You don't know what's going to come, right? Like I say, you arrive at the prison, you're strip searched and stuff. If you've packed your bag, which you should do and stuff, I've done a video further down my timeline about what to pack for prison. You're literally like, you're at the mercy. You've got no liberty. Your liberty's been taken away, right? And it's very, very surreal and hard to put into words just how much that can affect you, right? Like I say, emotionally, psychologically and stuff. And when you go to prison, you're sent to prison, right? It doesn't just affect you, it affects your family, and it sends ripples through your family. If you've got kids and a missus and stuff, say you've got young kids, the young kids are like, "Mummy, where's daddy? Where's daddy?" And daddy's fucking sat in jail. Doesn't know what's going on outside his fucking cell door, doesn't know what's going on outside his landing, outside the wing, right? You know what I'm saying? And outside the prison walls. And psychologically, I genuinely believe that prison takes a toll on you. Some people will admit it and say, you're right. Some people say, no, it doesn't, because they're doing the whole macho thing, right? The only people that thrive in prison are those that have got nothing on the outside. They've got no friends, they've got no family, and they've got nowhere to live, right? They're the only people that thrive in prison, right? Prison, like I say, you've got a lot of different prisoners with different. You've got a lot of different characteristics. Some people fly off the handle quick. Some people won't. Some people will be underhanded. Some people might be grasses. Some people might be funny. Like, you've got a lot of different personalities on the wing, right? And like I say, you've landed in this prison. You don't know anything. You don't know, like, how do you get your food? Do you just walk to the hot plate and pick what you want at the servery? No, you've got to put menus in and stuff like that. Like I say, psychologically, it's hard to ready yourself for prison. Your family, it's hard to ready them for what actually prison brings if it's your first time. If it's your second time and stuff, your missus will know to book reception visits and all that sort of stuff, and you'll know how the prison works. But the first time you go to prison, you might be 18, you might be 16, you might be 17, you might be 35, right? Might be 40. Some people, crime catches up. Crime does pay until you get caught, right? And eventually, right, you've got to pay your due, right? And every dog has its day. Now, like I say, prisoners, it's very, very, when you look at the wing and life on the wing and stuff, like I say, there's a lot that goes on. There's a very, it's not good. You sit there and stuff and you think and you dwell and you overthink and you overanalyze, and you start, as prisoners, guys, we have this defense mechanism where we might start, not everyone, I'm not speaking for everybody, I'm just saying in certain instances, you get prisoners that they start telling the girlfriend, leave me, don't bother about me, listen, have a good life, you're wasting your life with me, why are you even looking at me, just carry on with your life, I fucked up, I'm in prison, I'm never getting out, because your whole world's come crashing down, and you're paranoid about your missus, so you're thinking, right, finish with her, so you don't, because she might be cheating on you, because you don't know what she's up to when she's on the out. And this is all part of the punishment. Now, prison shouldn't be about punishment, guys. The punishment of prison, let's be honest, is losing your liberty, right? And when I was sat there, right, in Strangeways, yeah, on my first ever charge, yeah, no, not my first ever charge, but my first time in prison, and I'm sat there, and I'm thinking, God, I'd give anything to go for a pint of milk, to go to a shop for a pint of milk. I'd give anything to go out, see my missus or something, because I was with a girl that I was with at the time. And like I say, you overthink and stuff like that. So the roller coaster that is prison, especially on your first sentence, is unlike anything you'll ever experience in your life. And it's very hard to put into words for even me. Like I say, I was nervous, I was anxious, I was worried. I didn't know I didn't know anything. Right? I didn't know how prison worked. It was a world that is super, unless you've been in that situation, you've been inside them four walls, it's very, very hard to break it down to people. Like I say, I'm not going to glamorize prison. For some people, like young gang members and youths coming up, yeah, the federal youth, yeah, they're thinking that prison's a badge of honour, right? But like I say, it does take a toll and stuff. Why do you think we're seeing record numbers of assaults and self-harm, right? Because prisoners, there's mental health and stuff like that. Prisoners deal with things different way. You could be surrounded by 1,500 other prisoners, right? It could be 700, could be 800, could be 1,000, could be 1,200, could be 1,500, right? Other prisoners. And no two prisoners' journey is the same. When you're up, another person's down. And like I say, you've all got different things that make you tick. And you've got all these people in this system, right? A lot of people that have been in prison are actually been victims themselves, whether it's sexual abuse, physical abuse, bullying, parents that might have been drug or alcohol dependent, things like that. A lot of people that end up in prison have been victims themselves and stuff, guys, right? And then, like I say, we go on, we commit crime, we know right from wrong. But when you land in prison and that door closes and stuff, honest to God, right, it's like the clocks have stopped. Time goes slow, right? Then initially, when you get into the routine and you've been there a few weeks or a few months, whatever, the time starts to get faster and stuff like that. For me, anyone that lands in prison, you should apply for courses. You should apply for jobs on the kiosk, because if you get a job in prison, it keeps you mentally stimulated. As we're social people, we're social creatures and stuff. So I'd apply for jobs. If you get a job, you're in a position of trust. Like I say, it keeps you stimulated, keeps your mind focused, the time flies quicker, you're earning a wage, you're getting out your cell, gives you something to work towards and stuff like that. If you're doing courses, there's no consistency within the prison system, but when it comes to courses and stuff, some people do courses to tick a box, other people do it because they genuinely want help. And like I say, guys, but the effects of prison on you when you become in prison, right, when you go to prison, becomes a very selfish place, right? You become a selfish person to an extent, right? Because it's all about you and stuff like that. And you're worried. And like I say, you panic and you worry about your family. You worry about, it causes anxiety, it causes paranoia. A lot of people are leaving prison with post-traumatic stress disorder through their experiences, because you're seeing record numbers of self-harm, you're seeing record numbers of assaults, you're seeing suicides and suicide attempts and stuff like that. You're seeing cell-fires and stuff. You're seeing violence firsthand. Like I say, I'm not trying to scare anybody, but at the same time, you've got the two sides of prison. You will have some laughs. You will see some crazy stuff. You will see violence. It's pretty much guaranteed you'll see violence. Don't borrow anything from anybody, because if you do, you've got to give double back. It's called double bubble or double trouble. Stay away from the spice. The spice is a huge problem. Only gamble and borrow things if you can afford to pay the double or bubble back, because if not, you'll keep putting it back, because you owe the whoever's selling you the contraband drugs, psychoactive substances like spice, keeps going up and up and back, and then eventually they just get fucking fed up. Pay someone a one pop or a fucking £5 worth of spice, send someone into your cell and fucking do your dinner or something. In prison, like I say, you've got a lot of different people, you've got a lot of different personalities and stuff, and you've got a lot of the prison officers as well. Some you'll be able to manipulate, some you won't, some are old school, some are bastards. But like I say, the planning is a big part of it. Packing your bag, getting books, pads, pens, stamps, envelopes, flip-flops, fucking as much as you can muster to take, right? Take. Now, when you get to the prison, you have an allowance, so you might only be allowed 10 t-shirts, 10 pair of jogging bottoms or jeans, 3 pairs of trainers, 10 pairs of socks, 10 pairs of boxers, blah, 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 right? And like I say, prison's not a good place to be. It'll take its toll on you psychologically and emotionally, not just you, but also your family. It sends ripples through your family and stuff. It's not a good place to go, guys, but yeah. I'm going to leave this video here. Not one of my best videos, guys. I'll be absolutely honest with you. So like, comment, subscribe. Press the notification bell so every time that I drop a video, you guys are notified and then you can watch it straight out, guys. I'm going to leave it here, guys. Like, comment, subscribe. Speak to you all soon. Bye.